The Jeff's out golfing with Brady.
What would be the better Father's Day gift in your eyes? The ability to not have any responsibilities and then just be able to go golfing all day? Or that same year, you don't have to worry about getting your wife a Mother's Day gift?
The entire year?
For Mother's Day. You don't have to worry about her Mother's Day gift.
That one. I hate it. I got my gift on like the Saturday before Mother's Day. I hate gifts, period. Like I put it off till the last, like I don't get Christmas gifts until Christmas Eve.
Dude.
Gus, I mean, I wish I could not buy gifts for the whole year.
Right there with you. I think it should be a mutual thing. You just say, hey, my Father's Day gift or my Mother's Day gift to you is you don't have to get me a Father's Day gift and vice versa.
Yeah. Or it's like this dick right here. This is my Father's Day gift.
Yeah, I'm implementing that as soon as I'm find someone that's willing to give birth to my child. And with that, let's get loaded.
Never finish first because we finished last.
Thank you once again for tuning in to the Loaded Box Podcast. You haven't heard from us for a while. We took a little bit of hiatus, but for all the repeat offenders and for the new listeners, I am Ben Morgan, and that is DJ Primo, and it is Father's Day. DJ, you are the one of us that has a father. Or you, I didn't mean that, I promise. You're the one of us who is a father. What's your favorite part about today?
I think that's like the opposite. Is like you're the one of us that has a father. I'm the one that doesn't. Wait, what would you say? What was your
favorite
question?
Part about the day?
I mean, it's I don't really have I fucking mowed the lawn this morning, for Christ's sake. So it's the fact that I could just like get away with doing nothing and just be like, it's Father's Day. Like I just sit around and watch golf and week 17 replay of the NFL year now.
So for Father's Day, you got a chore. That's pretty excellent. I'm looking.
Yeah. Otherwise, I get to do nothing.
Yes. Well, as I said, we haven't recorded in a while. We had a bachelor party last weekend. We were just sort of busy with the summer. So we're back. We're stronger than ever. And today's focus is second-year NFL players for fantasy football. We talk about it all the time, how everyone gets enamored by the rookie. You're like, you want the new thing, you want to play with the new toy, but they seldom ever really make like a huge fantasy difference. We see it from the running backs a little bit more in recent years, but you see a little bit more of a jump from these second and third year players. So it's going to be a fun one today where we talk a little bit about second year guys. So with that, let's kick into the first question right away. DJ, who is your favorite second-year player right now in fantasy football when you base it on where they're currently going with their average draft position?
Man, listening to you today is like the hardest thing. Like, for some reason, you're coming through my ears like muffled. I can understand everything you say, but it's just so fucking muffled.
Hey,
it's like
maybe you're not used to it because last time we recorded, I was so hungover you couldn't hear me. So now that I'm back to not being hungover, I was probably like, who is this guy?
Yeah, this is wild. Like this is like deciphering. Okay, anyways, so my guy is my first. It's a homer pick, but I like it anyways because this is a guy I'm confident with. It's Aaron Jones. He's getting his ADP right now is about 7.06. Jones I have ranked at my RB19. I think with a full healthy season, he'll actually even finish higher as long as he's going healthy. He's going behind guys like Marlon Mack, Darius Geis, Marshawn fucking Lynch. Who even knows if he's going to carry the ball? Royce Freeman, Kenyon Drake, and Rashad Penny. I think that's garbage. So I mean, I'm gonna jump up probably 2 rounds to grab him and make sure I can get him. That's probably a third running back because I project probably grabbing 2 running backs in the first 4 rounds. And then if I want to, I'm gonna risk it all. I'm gonna risk it all for Aaron Jones. And then people forget, like when it comes to this Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. Like argument, people forget that with an unhealthy offensive line at the beginning of this year, Jamal Williams couldn't do anything. Like he just doesn't find holes. He had to go where this play was designed, and that was his whole like philosophy. When Aaron Jones came in, once Jamal Williams got hurt, he just started exploding onto the scene. Like he was able to see where the holes actually opened up because they weren't technically there because the offensive line wasn't as good. In those first 4 games, he was good. He had 2 games over 125 yards. He had 4 touchdowns in those 4 games. 3 touchdowns in those 4 games and 4 touchdowns overall. That 4th touchdown against Tampa Bay. Jamal Williams then returned to a healthy offensive line, and then he looked pretty good, but that's because they were healthy. And he had Hundley as his quarterback, so right. Kind of just volume. He got a lot of volume there.
Might not even make the team this year.
What?
A guy who might not even make the team this year.
Yeah, it's just Hundley may not make the team. So he was just getting volume because Hundley can't really throw, and the only guy who started to was Devontae Adams. I think people make the mistake of only looking at numbers all the time. Man, that's maybe because they just don't watch other teams as much. As a guy who watches the Packers, I probably make the same thing with other teams. But Aaron Jones just has it, and he also has the numbers from the games that he played to back it up. So, you can just see the difference when you watch them on the field in the beginning of the season to the end of the season compared to offensive linemen. But Aaron Jones came in against Tampa Bay in overtime for 1 carry.
Right.
In overtime. And actually, that game's on Red Zone right now, which
nice.
is hilarious. And he got a 20-yard carry for a touchdown.
Yeah.
It was amazing. That's just his explosiveness, his vision. He's going to get that opportunity and more with Aaron Rodgers next to him, and I think he does. He fits really well with Aaron Rodgers. So that's a lot of shit that I spit out there. Yeah, go for it.
So I like that draft position for him midway through the 7th round just because of the fact that you're taking a chance on being right on the right running back in a really good offense. So, yeah, you look at the Packers and they have Aaron Rodgers. You have the best quarterback in the league. So, yeah, you obviously know they're going to throw the ball. But if that offense is clicking, they're going to get the run game going. They're going to be playing with leads. They're going to hand the ball off to somebody. So if you call right here and you're getting the best running back on one of a top 5 offense in the league, midway through the 7th round is perfect. You can plug him in as a flex and not even be mad about it. That's going to be good value. What keeps him around that middle of the 7th for me is you just don't quite know yet because of Jamal Williams and Ty Montgomery. But I'm with you. If I'm taking one, I'm taking Jones. And I like that average. He's not my favorite player based on ADP, but I think he's right there. And if you're comfortable with your starting running backs right away and you want to take a chance on a guy who, this guy could easily average double-digit points every single week if he ends up being the guy. I don't think that's he could finish as a high RB2 for me. I don't think that's out of the question. So I think you're getting really good value there if you take Jones and he ends up being the guy.
You're going to see, obviously right now we're looking at it early. You'll see more going into the training camp and see probably kind of enlighten you a little bit more. But I'm just so confident that he's the guy that I'm not even worried.
Yeah.
That's how confident I am right now that I'm not, that I feel like in my head, he's the top running back. And I'm very comfortable already grabbing him that early just because it seems like it should be a pretty consensus thing, but
you definitely are. I'm looking at our rankings right now that we do with one of our writers. You have him 19th. Mikey has him at 24, so low end RB2, and I've got him at 27. So he's our consensus number 22 guy. He's the highest of the Packers running backs. So I think we're all fairly on the same page with a guy like Jones. But yeah, like you said, if you're a little bit higher on him and you have to jump up around to get him, and he ends up panning out, you're going to look like a stud in that because you're getting a top running back on a top team. So, yeah, Aaron Jones probably a good pick. My favorite second-year player based on ADP is Cooper Kupp. He's currently going the 9th pick in the 9th round. Let's start with the bad on him. So Kupp is playing in a loaded offense with the likes of Todd Gurley, who could potentially go number 1 overall, Robert Woods, who has this legit chemistry with Jared Goff, and Brandon Cooks, who they brought in and actually gave up a decent amount for him. So there are definitely plans with him. And all of those guys are going to go higher in your draft than Cooper Kupp. The good with Kupp is in his rookie year with those same guys minus Cooks, but plug in Watkins, he still posted 62 catches, almost 900 receiving yards, and scored 5 times. Weeks 12 through 16, so basically your fantasy football playoffs, he averaged 12.5 fantasy points per game. So if you can get that out of your flex position in the 9th round, I'm all about that. That offense is young. They have got some young guys at tight end, not like a real proven commodity there. And your tight end is usually your security blanket. So I think Kupp can kind of be Jared Goff's security blanket. So I just think if you look at this, the second year guys. It's a lot of really good running backs. I just think it's tough to take a second year running back with this question that we're proposing, just because they all have such high ADPs. So with that, my choice is going to be Kupp going in the latter part of the 9th round.
I don't hate it, and I'm going to talk about second-year wide receivers as we go on because I just think that's going to be an interesting play to make. But when you talk about security blanket, I immediately think of Robert Woods there, and then it worries me that he's covered up. Like you mentioned, he's got Gurley, he's got Woods, he's got Cooks, who's going to demand the ball. So I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about Kupp's ability. I mean, he's a good wide receiver. He's very solid. He's a good third down possession wide receiver, but that's where I think he fits in the best. So I don't know. I feel like he's still like maybe a 700-800 yard receiver with 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, and that'd be a bit of a decline in both. So you're thinking maybe a potential little bit of a regression there. I should also say with this pick, I'm all about like half PPR and PPR when it would come to Kupp. That's where you're really going to get it.
Yeah, he'd probably be really good in those situations because I think between the 20s, he's going to be probably the best wide receiver on that team, probably.
Yeah, he probably doesn't provide quite as much. I was going to look into the distance that his touchdowns came from. I remember him having some shorter ones. He was kind of just that guy who could find a hole in the zone when it came to the red zone.
And then he can run that little – I know it would be a good spot. I know the Patriots do this a lot where he can run that little it's like a pick play where he's running towards the pylon. Would be a good spot for him there too. It's a white guy type of play.
It really is. I was going to say that. It's like the token small white receiver play. Everyone knows it.
Yeah, it works though.
Nice. So I've got Kupp. You've got Jones. Let's move on to the second question is, who is your pick to finish with the most fantasy football points? And we'll do quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers individually. So let's start with the quarterback position.
Okay, I have this guy ranked lower than Deshaun Watson, but I think personally, and I'm giving away one of my secrets, I don't like it. I've actually given it away like 100 times, so whatever. My QB 18, Mitch Trubisky. I think Watson is the easy pick, right? He's the easiest pick here.
Right.
But I'm on record of not being a believer in Watson. I'm going to kind of talk shit about Watson before I even talk about Trubisky here. So he brought a style of game that defenses really struggle with right away, similar to like what RG3 and Kaepernick did, and that's just his legs in general. The fact that he can make plays with his legs, it's hard for a defense to get used to that when they don't see a guy playing that way. It's because you don't plan for that right away. Right. I think it's dynamic, it's tough, and it's hard to catch up to right away, and it takes defenses a little bit to figure that out. But I think what they're going to do, defenses, is they're going to neutralize that as they have tended to do. Russell Wilson's one of the few guys who actually adjusted and actually been able to keep running also and make throws from the pocket. Mm-hmm. I think he's one of the few guys that has been able to just maintain consistency. But I think it's going to make him make more decisions, which I think he has shown that he does poorly. I mean, he still had 8 interceptions in how many games did he play? Like 9?
Right, he didn't have like the most. He wasn't the most consistent when it came to keeping the ball safe. Let's put it that way.
And he did. He made bad decisions. He'd throw off his back foot. He'd throw running, across the field, running the wrong side. So, but I honestly believe that Trubisky is the real deal. I think he's got a ton of weapons. We've got Jordan Howard, Tariq Cohen, who's going to be. I think he's going to be a big time weapon. Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, Shaheen, and Burton. So that double tight end threat.
Right.
New coach in Matt Nagy, who took Alex Smith, number 5 ranked fantasy quarterback. Like,
that's a good point.
Number 5 of Alex Smith. Like, he's an average quarterback. He's good. You'd like to have him on your team, but he's not going to win you a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And he's just not a number 5 ranked fantasy QB. He's just not. Okay, you're not going to see that again. Matt Nagy did this. I think he's going to utilize these weapons and Trubisky's skill set. And everybody talks about Trey Burton taking that Kelsey role, where I feel like Shaheen would be the guy taking that Kelsey role in the second year in this office. I feel like he's more of that athleticism. And Burton's he's another really good tight end, so it's a double threat. I'm not anything against Burton.
Right.
But I see the Bears as this year's LA Rams, and I really do like Mitch Trubisky. He's going to be a guy I'm going to try to sneak out late because I don't think anybody's going to be grabbing him, especially in the leagues that we run with.
Yeah. My one thing, and I talk about being hesitant about the Bears this year, is just because remember how last year they almost treated him like the Broncos treated Tebow. It was like we're not going to pass unless we absolutely have to. So it's the fact that They just haven't trusted him yet. Like you said,
But
though, they did everything
John
perfect.
Fox.
It was John Fox. Literally, the
He's a
Tebow
fucking
connection.
idiot.
But they did the exact thing this year on offense that they should have. They loaded him with young people that he can grow with. So I agree with you in that sense. But does it take more than a year to totally give that faith, or do you just hand over the reins? That's where I get a little bit hesitant with Trubisky. But he's going so late. You can, like you said, he's not a bad guy to scoop up if you want to.
I mean, from the plays I actually did see him throwing the one or two times that he did throw the ball a game, I really liked what I saw. Tyreek Hill just scored a really long
touchdown. Man, they should have let him throw the ball more, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
well, I'm gonna go. I will take the obvious pick. I have to do it. One of us had to do it.
Yep.
I'll go with Deshaun Watson because if he's healthy, it's not super close for me because I have Watson as my quarterback 5. I've got Mahomes at 22 and I've got Trubisky at 28. I did look at that and I do kind of want to move Trubisky up. It's only June, so I've got time to do that.
Yeah, we will.
Yes. I don't mind Mahomes as my quarterback 2, but like I said, I'm going to kind of take that wait and see approach with Trubisky right now. When you look at Watson last year, I was looking at his stats. He was averaging nearly 25 fantasy points per game before he got hurt. That was the highest of all quarterbacks. Russell Wilson and Carson Wentz finished the season 2 points per game lower than that. So he was basically pacing the field as a rookie who got thrown in at halftime of his first ever game. Questionable on Mahomes due to the competition right now. He's actually going against the hardest strength of schedule for quarterbacks in 2018. The nice thing about Deshaun Watson and Mitch Trubisky, Watson has the 3rd easiest schedule for quarterbacks. Trubisky has the 4th easiest. So you're getting a little bit of a added bonus there as well. But you look at Watson, I mean, he has Hopkins. Hopkins can do it all with whoever. It does not matter. Yeah. Will Fuller, who's the modern-day Chris Carter, all he does is catch touchdowns. Lamar Miller, Deontay Foreman, I expect them to be better. It'd be hard to imagine them like combining for less total yardage and touchdowns. And that defense, they gave up the most points per game in the entire NFL last year. So unless they have a huge improvement, the Texans are going to have to score a lot to stay in games and to win games. So Watson's going to be on the field a lot. He's going to have to put up some points. So just due to that alone, I have to take him over the other rookie quarterbacks. I know it's not bold by any means, but it's my take.
For the record, I have Deshaun Watson as my 15 ranked quarterback, so I have him way down compared to people. That's bold. Number 2, I expect their defense to improve. I mean, if J.J. Watt is healthy the whole year with that combination of him and Jadeveon Clowney, that's just going to improve them. A good amount as it is. But I don't know. I just don't think he's a good decision maker. I think defenses will adjust to his style and make him have to make decisions from within the pocket. Obviously, he's going to get away. He's going to make some plays on the run. That's always going to happen, but it's not going to happen like as often as it did this last year. And look, DeAndre Hopkins is going to get his numbers no matter what. He's going to have touchdown passes to DeAndre Hopkins. That's going to happen. I still think that he's going to struggle he has no tight end. Who the fuck's their tight end?
Right. I'm with you.
I honestly couldn't even name it right now. I'm sure if I thought about it hard, but I can't.
If it was Madden, it'd be Houte, Houston tight end. Like he doesn't have a name.
Houston tight end. I don't have full confidence in Will Fuller. Who else I have? Braxton Miller. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good weapons at running back though.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say, so let's move on to running backs. Who do you have for highest scoring or running back of all second-year guys?
Let me roll down here. I've got. Where the fuck am I? I know who it is. I have Leonard Fournette. I just want to find my talking points here, right? So I've got Leonard Fournette. I hear people dropping, the line about Leonard Fournette only having 3.9 yards per carry as an argument against him, which is cool and everything. That is, again, another numbers argument, but it's cool and all, but when he's getting 25 carries a game, that's still 100 yards, basically.
Really, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so you're getting 25 carries a game, 3.9 yards. I'm not angry about that. So you're still getting 100 yards pretty much a game, and every once in a while he's dropping 120, 130, 140, 150, whatever yards in a game. And if he drops a low amount, he's probably going to score a touchdown and 2 still in that game. Mm-hmm. And I was going to say, adding to the fact that he's going to score a bunch of touchdowns. That's just what he's going to do. The Jaguars are not going to change their strategy, right? They're going to throw the ball maybe a few more times. Maybe a few more times with my boy Blake Bortles. Let him pick him apart a couple more times this year than last year. But they're going to hand on the ball. That's what they're going to do. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play defense because their defense is great. They're going to stay in games, let defense win the games because ultimately, and it's just as far as consistency goes, Leonard Fournette will be the guy that I trust, and a guy who's easily going to finish inside the top 10 again. So I think it's just he's going to get carry after carry after carry again until he dies in the next couple of years.
Yeah, no kidding. Like Eddie Lacy.
Until then, he's going to finish inside the top 10. He's like Sean Alexander, something like that.
That's a better comp. Like you said, though, yeah, the Jaguars they're most likely going to be in every single game just because of that defense that they have. And remember how dominant Leonard Fournette was before he got hurt in that Steelers game?
Yeah.
In the playoffs? I mean, the guy was just a monster. I'm looking at our...
he murdered them earlier in the year. It was like 180 something yards.
Yep, I'm looking at our consensus rankings right now. Funny enough, all three of us have him at 7. But he's our consensus 6 just because of how math works.
Fucking math.
But yeah, I can't really say anything too bad about Fournette. I'll go into my guy because I'll tie in Fournette in a second here. But once again, I don't know if it's quite 100% obvious, but I'm going to go with Kamara because I think it's obviously between Kamara, Fournette, Dalvin Cook, and Kareem Hunt. So you look at Kamara, he finished in half PPR last year. He finished as RB3 last year. That includes not getting a ton of usage right away because they were still trying to figure out how does Kamara fit in with Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson. And now you look this year, there's no AP. You don't have Ingram for the first 4 weeks. So definitely some usage.
But you want him paired with Ingram. I think that helps.
I kind of do. I do believe that. One of our writers actually tweeted at us today, and he made a good point that because you look at Kamara, he had 13 total touchdowns last year. If you can, even if you drop his touchdowns a little bit, you don't want to do that in fantasy, but I mean, a rookie having 13 touchdowns, that natural regression may drop a little bit. But because of his higher usage, he might make up a little bit for that in yards. So he's still going to finish in that top guy. But like I was saying with the catches, last year, 80 catches, over 800 receiving yards. So even if you have Kamara, you're playing from behind, and you have this running back sitting there, unlike Fournette, if they're behind, I kind of think he gets phased out. Whereas you have Kamara, he's getting you the catches, he's getting you the yards, and the dude was a touchdown machine last year. You couldn't remember how he just kept spiking up and up and up in FanDuel last year. Like at a certain point, like he instantly became the highest guy, and it didn't kill you to use him because he was putting up 20, 25 fantasy points per game. So I feel like it's another kind of obvious choice, but I think if you get the opportunity to take Kamara in a half, especially in a full PPR, I don't think you can really pass on him.
Yeah, these running backs in this class were good, but I mean, I can't argue with Kamara at all. I can see, obviously, the argument for that. And I mean, he's a guy I'll take. I'm not going to sit here and say Kamara's going to bust. I know guys are going to sit there and say that. But he just has an overall skill set that makes him a consistently good running back. Like, he's in the backfield, and you don't know what he's going to do. You could have a batch of, like, he could be coming out of the backfield, catching the ball, or he's going to be running the ball. You just have to, you can't, like, predict what he's going to do on the field.
Right.
And that's what ultimately is like making running backs great nowadays. I mean, Matt Forte was one of the first to do this, is to be just a problem in the backfield and in the air.
Right.
Le'Veon Bell does that now. Saquon Barkley is going to be a guy who does that. Todd Gurley, they finally did that with. All the best running backs now. David Johnson, all the best running backs now have that ability. So he's going to be good,
right.
No doubt. He might be a number one pick. He might be the number one pick next year.
Right, and yeah, there was news this morning. I was reading that Melvin Gordon has asked to be more involved in the passing game. These running backs are getting it. They're like, hey, why don't you throw me the ball? My numbers are going to pop up. I can get treated.
One thing wait, go ahead.
I was going to say, you can get treated not quite as a receiver when it comes to free agency, but you're a little bit more than just a running back because the running back market kind of gets shelved a little bit in free agency. It'll be interesting when, like these last couple of years, how the rookies have done so well. Once those guys become free agents, I wonder if that free agent market for running backs is going to jump up a little bit and kind of even things back out because the last couple of years, man, they don't get paid, they don't get picked.
One thing I find interesting is the Packers, because we were talking about Aaron Jones and that group, and then we are talking about this pass catching back and the ability. The Packers are out there openly saying Ty Montgomery is going to have a huge impact in this Packers offense this year recently.
Yeah.
This could be like the situation where he was still a wide receiver and he was played at running back and you were getting all those points with him.
Right.
he could be a running back and be playing at wide receiver this year. Like, it's going to be the opposite. Like, they're going to be throwing the ball in the backfield to him more. I still value Aaron Jones more at the running back, but like I said, I think he's going to be a matchup problem. I think that's going to be it. He's going to give him a lot of looks. I still don't see him as fantasy relevant. It's all talk right now.
Yeah, that was cheating that year when they just switched him midway through and like, oh, by the way, we can use him wherever in fantasy.
You could use a running back, wide receiver, or whatever.
Yeah. Well, let's jump over to wide receiver. Which of these second-year guys do you have finishing with the most points?
Yeah, you gave me shit about. Well, you didn't give me shit. You just were surprised at how much higher I had him ranked than you and our boy Mikey, who we need to have on the podcast shortly. Actually, by the way.
Yeah, we'll get him on there as long as he's alive still.
As long as he's alive. What our most voluminous writer. This is just a gut feeling. I didn't like him last year. I'm really not a big rookie wide receiver guy. I say that over and over again, and that's proved to be right consistently. But I mean, he's the main target in this offense, and I just expect a full turnaround from the Titans offense, because 2 years ago I loved their ability to run and pass, and it worked really well, especially with Delaney Walker mixed in that bunch. And Corey Davis all last year, he was hampered by a hamstring injury, and I think they just brought him back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's just a coaching staff problem. I think he was brought back too early. He said he was 90% going into the season. So I don't think you got to see his full potential, and he was just played too much. I think you finally get to see a full season. I mean, this is similar to, I think, to me, I'm comparing this to Davante Adams' second year, when he was suffering from an injury, and people just hated him. Like, Packer fans just hated him, and I was never on that trade. Like, they were, like, thinking he was going to get cut in his third year.
Yeah, remember that? That was hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I was like, why are people so stupid? Like, how dumb are you? Like, okay, he's injured all season. He couldn't catch. He was lacking confidence. The injury was killing him. He comes back and bounces back. I have Corey Davis at wide receiver 19. I expect a huge year, similar to how Davante Adams kind of bounced back. Plus, he's got 1 year in the NFL to kind of figure that out as well. But I think that hamstring is the worst injury you can have through a full year. So,
yeah. No, you know where I stand on Corey Davis. That's my guy. Like, I haven't been that high on a receiver in a long time. So I love Davis. They took him in the top 10. They obviously have a plan for him. I'm a huge fan. But you know what scares me so much? And I'm going to look at the rankings real quick. We have him consensus wide receiver 29. You have him 19th. Mikey and I are 38 and 39. So we're kind of on the same page, but you're looking at him as like maybe the offense takes a step forward here.
Yep.
He gets a boost by being in the offense for a year. He's healthy. I don't think you're crazy by having him that high. I just think it's funny that like Corey Davis is my guy, and you got him 20 spots higher than I do. I just find it funny.
Yeah, you were a year off on him, and this is the year.
What kills me about him is what I saw from Mariota last year. Underwhelmed from Ariola last year. He just underwhelmed the shit out of me, and that scares me. Like, I like him in that offense because you look at the Titans, you're like, oh, they are this run first team. They can set the tone. That's going to open up Davis for these big plays. But it just wasn't totally there. We did see it in the second round of the playoffs. Mariota hit him for 2 touchdowns against the Patriots. I had him in a playoff league that week. It was great. But I don't know. It just wasn't very consistent. But maybe another year with Mariota, maybe a little bit of change in the offense, a healthy, maybe that changes it up. So I can't hate it too much because he's my guy. But you're significantly higher on him than a lot of people.
Yeah. Give me the number one, I think, a number one wide receiver in a very balanced offense. I like that.
Yeah.
I just like his ability to. I think he's gonna have to be able to show his full potential, like the way he runs routes and his ability to get open. You're finally gonna be able to see that this year after an injury-riddled 2017.
Right. Well, my pick for highest scoring second-year guy for receiver is none other than Juju Smith-Schuster.
You and this fucking guy this year. I don't know what's like. You're so far up Juju's asshole.
You know what?
It's just unbelievable. Like your head is just lodged completely up this guy's asshole. You know, like you're gonna be talking for him.
The way I am, I'm like a puppet. The worst thing about this, I think I just noticed. I picked basically the guys who finished first last year. So I went on 0 limbs. All right, I'm thinking it's between him, Corey Davis, Cooper Kupp, Kenny Golladay. I'm giving the edge to Juju here, primarily based on last year's performance, and you're being the number 2 wide receiver option in that offense. Last year as a rookie, finished wide receiver 21. I'm predicting a similar, if not a little better finish, maybe even in 2018. So you're basically getting a wide receiver 2 here at a decent round. And I don't know. You basically said the words for me. I'm kind of got a man crush on him right now. If it's a full PPR league, I do like Cooper Kupp. If it's a touchdown heavy league, I do like Corey Davis. But if we're talking like half PPR, I really like Juju here. He almost had 1,000 yards last year, just 58 catches. But then he also added 7 touchdowns. So he's playing on an offense that's basically built around, it's going through Antonio Brown, it's going through Le'Veon Bell. That opens up, that's going to take most of their targets, but it opens up the potential for some big plays out of that guy. So if you can rely on Juju as your number 2 receiver, I think I'd be all about that. And last year's rookie receivers, so second year obviously, this year, they were all just fairly underwhelming when it came to stats.
So
like
bad.
The
I was
big
going to talk
three.
about that.
It was the Mike Williams, John Ross, and Corey Davis. It was Juju and Cooper Kupp and handful of others who really stole the spotlight. So just because Juju's been there, he's done that, he's in a great offense, I think he would finish the year with more points than guys like Corey Davis, Kenny Galladay, Cooper Kupp.
These wide receivers last year were all underwhelming, period.
Besides Juju.
All underwhelming. I don't even like Juju. Like he won't end up on my team. I can tell you that. It's too many weapons. They added James Washington out of Oklahoma State. It's just, I don't know. If Roethlisberger gets injured, then everybody's gonna suck besides Le'Veon. So I can't take the fourth option or whatever it may be in this offense right here. I don't know. There's too many good defenses in that division as well. I think I talk about that coming up, but
spoiler alert.
Yes, I do talk about that coming up. So I don't know. I'm not gonna. Juju will not be on one of my teams. I'm sure he'll be on all years. So we'll see who ends up right about this one.
So funny enough, I kind of cheated and looked ahead here because I thought maybe you'd talk about it, because our next question is which second-year guy is most likely to bust. And it kind of sounds like you might have been on the fence between the guy you actually picked and Juju Smith-Schuster. But
where do I have Juju even ranked?
Who did you go with? I'll look that up. Who did you go with as most likely to bust?
To bust, I have Mr. Joe Mixon, who you didn't even put on the list right away, I guess.
Too big of a fan.
Forgot about him. You had
about him. Oh my God!
I know it. Everybody loves this fucking guy.
Hold the phone. I've got him 20. I got Smith-Schuster 24th. Mikey's got him 25th. You have him 51st. That's a Juju hater right there.
I don't like him. I might move him up a little bit, but I just don't like Juju Smith at all. Schuster.
All right, well, let's
go.
I
say his whole name when I say it?
I don't think you can. I will X that out.
You feel really racist every time you say his name, because I do.
I really do.
It's like I feel so bad. I should just start calling him JJ. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad. That's a terrible thing to say, but I just found really racist, I feel like.
JJSS.
It almost makes me feel kind of dirty. So I have Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon as the most likely to bust here, all right? He's going 2.10 ADP. That makes him RB 15. He's coming off the board. I think this is just way too high for a running back on a team that finished second to last in rushing last year. It's true. They improved their offensive line a little bit, but they still have work to do, and especially on the inside at both guard positions, I think. But not only this, but they're playing in a division in which they have to play against the Ravens and the Browns and the Steelers, and all of those teams last year finished in the top 15 in total defense, and top 15 against the run.
Yeah.
Okay? And of the three of those teams, the one team that finished the highest stopping the run was the Browns.
No kidding.
A team that didn't win a single game, yeah. Yeah. The Browns. So have fun drafting Joe Mixon, because he's not going to be on any of my teams, because he's going against a lot of really good defenses with really bad. I just don't believe in Marvin Lewis anymore. In a team that's going to probably try to change their style, but it's just going to be bad. This is not a team that I really want anyone from besides AJ Green.
Besides AJ, yeah. I think what a lot of people see with Joe Mixon though is just that ability to make an impact as a pass catcher. And so
I understand that. But
I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, that's really high. I mean, we're talking back end of the second round, and you're picking a guy who's going to have to lead your team. Like you said, who really didn't do anything last year.
Lead your team, yeah.
A couple plays here and there, and now you're banking on him. I mean,
if you're going Antonio Brown in the first round and grabbing Joe Mixon in the second round, I hate that.
Yeah, I can't really totally get behind that either. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I feel better about Mixon than you do, But yeah, when you look at it, how high you're going to have to take him, I think I'd probably rather let someone else take him. The thing is, the definition of bust. So yeah, if he's going high and he doesn't do all that well, he probably is busting. But he's not really having to live up to anything, so he's not a bust in that sense, which amazes me.
He's a bust compared to his ADP.
Why his ADP is so high. That's just amazing that it is that high, but I think people are trying to draft on potential because there was so much potential there his rookie year. But like you said,
ADP, baby.
They didn't run the ball. They couldn't commit to a guy. They didn't have an offensive line. They did a couple of things to change that up, but we're still talking about the Bengals. It's the same old Bengals. It's the Andy Dalton.
Exactly, and they're not going to commit to a guy ever.
8-8 Bengals. so I'm with you. Yeah, I'm not totally avoiding
I honestly am more comfortable with Aaron Jones than I am with Joe Mixon.
Well,
I'm more comfortable with Sony Michel than I am with Joe Mixon.
ADP,
that guy's not touching my roster.
Based on ADP, you'd easily get him there. So
just in general.
Right.
Like, I'd rather have those two running backs. I do not like Joe Mixon and his situation.
Right.
I guess is what it comes down to.
Based on what Twitter kind of said to us this morning, I feel like my pick for most likely to bust is a lot of people's likely pick.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm just going by the book today. I'm going to go with Kareem Hunt because right now he's going as the 9th overall pick, the 8th running back off the board. And like I said a little bit ago, in order to be a bust, you got to be selected fairly high. And the 9th overall pick is obviously pretty high. And I think if you're looking at a bust because of that, you have to pick one of the running backs. Like, not all these guys are just going to tear it up. I don't think, anyways. So I'm going to lean towards Hunt over. My second choice would have been Dalvin Cook. But I'm putting Cook in that category only because of that injury. If he's healthy, I'm a huge Dalvin Cook fan. But if that injury comes back, Dalvin is still going really high as well. So he could potentially be a bust candidate. But his injury happened early enough last year where I'm not super worried about that. I'm comfortable.
You're not a bust if you get injured. I don't think I'd ever count that.
But it just cripples your team.
Yeah, but it's not a bust. It's
not
just
like he meant to bust.
Just unfortunate. I mean, Aaron Rodgers isn't a bust.
Well, he busted my team. He's a bust.
Just say it.
So Kareem Hunt last year finished as RB4, but he was on that team with Alex Smith, who was the ultimate game manager, and they relied heavily on the run game. Now that you have Pat Mahomes being the quarterback, the offensive philosophy may change some, or you could look at it, they rely on the run game even more because they don't want Mahomes to make all these mistakes. But I think that could potentially make Hunt a little less effective because the defenses are going to be so stacked up against him. That could, in then turn, benefit guys like Tyreek Hill, Pat Mahomes, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce. So Hunt might fall victim to that as well. Kareem Hunt, like, no one started faster than he did last year. 4 of his first 5 games, he had over 100 rushing yards, and he totaled 6 touchdowns. And then all Kareem Hunt owners remember this: 7 straight weeks, middle of the season, under 100 rushing yards, 0 total touchdowns. So we've already seen a couple of cold streaks from Kareem Hunt. I mean, at the end of the day, he's still my running back 5. I'm high on him. I'm not opposed to taking him. I just think if one of these running backs is going to bust, I would have to put my money on Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the Chiefs' offense. I don't like Patrick Mahomes, so I don't hate this. The fact that he disappeared for 7 straight games is never a good thing. That's just too many games for a good running back to not show up. Like, you can't be an elite running back and just be gone, like non-existent, basically, for 7 straight games, especially when you're like an owner of him. You have to be losing your shit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, you just want to get rid of him at that point. I mean, I probably won't end up with Kareem Hunt, honestly. He's another one that I would put up there as well.
Yeah, he's just going so early that it's hard.
I just don't like the Chiefs' offense, so I'm already down on them anyways. And I don't like Pat Mahomes. I know they have a lot of weapons, but Alex Smith was number 5 though. I mean, a game manager was number 5 quarterback of fantasy football.
Right.
But they lost him. They lost Nagy. They lost that quarterback. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Yeah. And he's got Andy Reid, who's like the ultimate fuck up too.
Right. Yeah, I sort of feel like the audience is kind of split on Hunt. You've got some people that are like, yep, he can carry the load. He's the guy. He's going to be the guy for years. He's the fantasy guy that you need. And then there's the other half that are just like, dude, they look at that streak of terrible games and it's like, nope, I'm avoiding that. That's when you need your guys to perform. I mean, when you're trying to make all these runs going into the playoffs, and yeah, could you imagine if you'd have sold high on Kareem Hunt last year, what you'd have gotten for him, and then the guy who has him gets him for shit for 7 games? Like, you just would have robbed that guy blind.
Yeah. They just showed the Rob Gronkowski forearm to the back of that Tre'Davious White's
when Rob Gronkowski tried to kill that Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, it was great. He just wrestled pile drives his face to the ground.
Yes, we'll confirm on the podcast that Rob Gronkowski is a robot.
Oh my God!
All right, who is your favorite second-year sleeper pick?
All right, guys, listen closely because this is probably going to be the one and only time that I talk about a fucking tight end.
What's happening?
This entire year. What is happening? I mean, I'll talk about tight ends, like who I'm going to stream every week come the season, but my guy here is 14.03 ADP, is David Njoku. Now, I don't know where I have him ranked in tight ends because I didn't rank any.
That's a fair point, and that's accurate.
Ever. Yes, exactly. I'll rank him from week to week. But you saw the flashes of like his athleticism and skill set that Njoku could bring to the table with. Who was there even? I was trying to think of their quarterbacks in my head, and I got so angry about it.
You'll get a migraine. You'll get nauseous. It's gross.
Yeah, they're fucking Browns quarterbacks. And now you're pairing him with my boy, Tyrod Taylor, who loves him a good tight end. I know Charles Clay didn't have a great year. I think he was mostly not healthy. But the year before, he loves throwing the ball to Charles Clay. I think he loves his tight ends. If it's not a Josh Gordon type, he's going to be throwing it to the tight ends. And I think Njoku is going to just explode for that reason because he's going to have Tyrod Taylor just throwing him the ball. He's athletic. He's a matchup problem. So, I mean, if I'm grabbing a tight end in the 14th round who I think could be an every game starter, that might be a pick that I'm even willing to in my opinion, usually waste. But it's a 14th round pick for a tight end who I think I could be a top 5 tight end.
I just want to call you a hypocrite first and foremost.
I know.
I can't believe you're talking about a tight end.
I can't believe it either. I almost threw up there.
But the fact it's a sleeper, and if anyone's going to be sleeping on a tight end, it'd be you. But
yeah.
No, you kind of nailed it there. You look at Njoku, he's got to be one of the most athletic tight ends in the league. He's kind of like that. Remember how the University of Miami was kind of like tight end U for a while there?
Yeah.
He's kind of like that next generation of those guys. Mm-hmm. And like you said, maybe having a slower rookie year is going to benefit if you take him this year because look at the tight end position. You've got Gronk, Kelsey, Ertz, maybe Olsen, maybe Ingram. Other than that, you don't really know. So it's kind of a crapshoot. So if you don't get one of those top
Jimmy
guys,
Graham, you forgot about Jimmy Graham.
We'll get there at some point in the future podcast. But yeah, if you don't take one of those upper echelon tight ends, take Njoku in the 14th round, grab him at the very end of your draft. I think that's not a terrible pick. He's getting put into an offense that now has 3 people that they're going to count on to share the carries, so they're always going to be fresh. A brand new quarterback who doesn't mind throwing the ball to the tight end, and then you've got receivers around him in Coleman, Gordon, Landry. Yeah, we're talking about a lot of targets there, but you're getting a matchup made in heaven there with Njoku just work in the middle with all those guys around him. So didn't even consider Njoku for this pick, but you've got a believer in me.
If I get to like mid to late 13th round, and I know for a fact I won't have a tight end by then,
not a chance.
And he's still on the board. I was gonna say if I don't have a tight end, I'm not gonna have a tight end. If he's still there, I'm gonna probably end up grabbing this guy in a few leagues. I'm like giving away my secrets, so hopefully our friends don't start listening to this until like right before the season because I think that's when they start jumping back on board. So I'll just give away the secret now, assuming that they're not gonna listen until like 4 or 5 weeks from now.
Wow, I never thought I'd see the day, folks. You're seeing history right here on the Loaded Box podcast.
Yeah. Well, he's playing with my boy Tyrod too, so. Fuck, give me some double action. I might have Tyrod as my second quarterback this year. I might have to throw them together.
You are going to have too many Browns on your team. You're a believer.
I want to have all the Browns. I want Josh Gordon. The only one I don't want is fucking Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, he's going to go really high still. I don't know how that's going to work out, but
we'll
see. No, I like that pick. My pick for sleeper, another person on Twitter even mentioned this one. It's Corey Clement of the Eagles going as the 7th pick in the 10th round. That's the 45th running back off the board. I've got him personally ranked as 31. So I'm significantly higher on Clement than what his current ADP is. You look at the Eagles, no more LeGarrette Blount. You're expected to see a little bit more Jay Ajayi. Everyone forgets about Darren Sproles, but he's coming back. And then you got Corey Clement. So
where did you have Clement ranked?
I have 31.
And I have him at 35. So
we're both a little bit higher on him than ADP. Yeah,
absolutely.
But if the Eagles play like they did last year, they didn't really rely on one guy. And when a team relies on one guy, that's where Jay Ajayi in the past has thrived. Sproles is like 805 years old, and he's coming off injury, so I'm probably avoiding him. I saw some hype on Roto World, like they're planning on featuring Darren Sproles, and I was like, "What?"
Every time they talked about Darren Sproles this summer, I was like, "These fucking guys are so dumb. He's retired."
Yeah, right.
I was convinced myself that Darren Sproles had retired. Him and Frank Gore should be on a fucking beach somewhere in Miami, just watching the sunset. Like, those old ass guys do not belong on a football field. Like, get them out of here.
The bad thing is Frank Gore is on South Beach, just not the beach. He's on the football field.
Correct.
And he's killing
Exactly.
me inside. So I probably think of this backfield, if you're getting Clement in the mid to late 10th round, he'd probably be my choice. Last year, didn't get a ton of usage, only had 84 touches, about 450 yards, but he scored 6 times. So if you're taking him in the 10th, you don't really need to worry about starting him week by week. But if you need a guy for a flex play, a guy that's filling in for an injury or a bye week, you could be potentially putting in Clement, who could get some catches and who could potentially snag that touchdown as well. And if you think back to his last game, the Super Bowl, super explosive plays. He's one of the most explosive guys on the field. 4 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. So after that performance, I think there's definite faith in him. Second year in the offense, probably going to get more looks. Getting him in the mid to late 10th, I don't know why he's going quite that late, to be honest with you.
My wife calls me one of the most explosive guys on the field.
You explode.
It's like the one that's like really explosive, really quick. I have that quick explosiveness. Like, that's my one really good running back stat. Yeah, quick explosiveness, like right out of the box.
You mean in the box?
Yeah, I like what?
So do you mean in the box?
Out of the box, in the box, loaded box. Let's go. I like Corey Clement. He is going as RB45. We both have him ranked at least 10, if not higher than that. I don't know where Mikey had him on his, but that's a guy I don't hate. I mean, he looked good when we did watch him last year. Mm-hmm. He's out of Wisconsin, so I do hate him for that reason. But I'd be willing to grab him in the right spot. Maybe even earlier than that. Yeah, obviously earlier than that 10th round spot, so somebody doesn't take him for me. So yeah, I mean, his ability to like catch out of the backfield was one of his biggest strengths. PPR, he'd be a really good option, I believe. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have much really good analysis on that besides just stuttering a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I like him.
I covered it. I got your back. Yeah. Let's do some random questions about some guys we didn't talk about. So Kenny Golladay, obviously a second-year receiver with the Lions. Really low ADP right now. He's going towards the back half of the 13th round. And you look at a teammate who's going in the back half of the 5th round. Not Golden Taint, but Marvin Jones.
Golden Taint.
Who would you pick? Which receiver for the Lions would you take right now based on their ADP? Golladay at 1308 or Marvin Jones with the 9th pick in the 5th round?
Didn't Marvin Jones and Golden Tate finish like 8-9 this last year?
Marvin Jones had a hell of a year. I think he ended up with close to 10 touchdowns.
I think they both finished really high. I'm still gonna lean with Marvin Jones because I'm gonna lean those top 2 wide receivers. I don't know what how he's still gonna fit into this offense. Stafford's gonna throw the ball a ton. It's gonna be with these guys that he has rapport with. Marvin Jones still could be inside the top 12, which he may. Well, I mean, Matt Stafford's a fucking top 7 quarterback every year, and everybody forgets. These guys are gonna. This Marvin Jones is gonna get his numbers. Golden Tate's gonna get his numbers. They have that like trust and relationship with them. That's what you like with wide receivers. Galladay's still working his way in there. Eventually, maybe Tate will be out of there or something. One of these two will be out of there, and Golladay will get his chance to shine. But I just don't see it as this year yet. So I'm leaning Marvin Jones. I'm thinking I can get wide receiver 1 still.
Yeah, my thing with Marvin Jones right now is
at 5.09.
Yeah, I think his touchdowns, I don't see him getting that many touchdowns again this year. I think he'll regress a little bit, and I think last year's touchdown total and the fact that he did finish that high is why he's getting drafted already in the 5th round. So if he regresses, I think you might be a little bit disappointed taking him there. So if you can get Golladay towards the end of your draft and he ends up being the beneficiary of that, I'm a big fan of Golladay. I will say it. I'm more of a homer pick here. I'm not a Lions fan by any means, but I do like Kenny Golladay. So take that however you want to take it. But I think I'm a little different than you on this one. I think I would rather have the lesser option, but at a much later round, because I just don't see Marvin Jones duplicating what he did last year, and I think that's what his current ADP is based on. Mm-hmm. Next one. All right, this one blew my mind.
I love this one.
Mike Williams, out of the University of Clemson, goes top 10 to the Los Angeles Chargers in the draft. Doesn't really play too much, has an injury, gets in there a little bit, catches a couple of balls. I feel like I'm a little bit low on him, so we're ranking him. We have our rankings on loadedboxpodcast.wordpress.com. You look at our rankings, I've got him 75th. Mikey has him 67th. Common trend here, right? Wrong.
Yep.
DJ has him ranked 35th. What are you seeing that we're not?
Not a big deal. I mean, what aren't you, like, what don't you see? Look, this guy missed almost all of season with a herniated disc, and then he tried to play with that herniated disc. Have you ever tried to move with a herniated disc? I haven't, but I heard it's a bitch. So you get him healthy. You get a guy who they drafted number 8, I believe.
Yeah, he was top 10.
What?
He was top 10. I don't remember which.
Yeah, I think it was 8, but, I might be wrong. I don't care. Aaron Jones just scored that 20-yard touchdown against Tampa Bay.
Spoiler alert.
So, just wanted to throw that in there. Christian McCaffrey just scored a touchdown, Mitch.
That's for you.
That's for you. But you've got no Hunter Henry because he died already. Antonio Gates is gone. You've got that huge red zone target now in Mike Williams, who I think is going to jump in and take that spot. I don't believe in Tyrell Williams. I don't believe in Travis Benjamin. It's going to be Keenan Allen. And if you believe that the Chargers are going to be as good as what they're going to be, and most people have them winning that division, someone else has got to be able to catch the ball besides Gordon and Keenan Allen. It's not like Gordon's going to have 120 more receptions.
Austin Eckler.
So, fuck Austin Eckler. But he's still a running back.
Right.
But, like, somebody's got to take those red zone targets and just receptions. And Mike Williams, they drafted him that high for a reason, all right? He sat out the whole season. Now he's getting that chance to be healthy. Again, I know he had a little bit of a hamstring issue, whatever. But it's a long way. I mean, going like just a couple of weeks ago. But it's a long way from the training camp and regular season here. So that's not something I'm worried about because he has plenty of time to rest and get that fully healthy. 35, I think, is not a stretch at all for a guy who could be scoring fucking 7-8 touchdowns. I really believe that.
So I'm probably a little low. I'll admit that you kind of talked me there. 75 might be a little extreme, especially now that Hunter
Henry's the worst wide receiver in the NFL at 75.
I sort of agree with that. I think what hurts me a little bit with Mike Williams is I get these flashes of Devontae Parker, where I see this big-bodied receiver who has all the talent in the world, but the route running lacks, and the separation at the line of scrimmage lacks, and the injuries are there. And I think that's just what's kind of hindering me with him. So at his current ADP, yeah, he's probably worth it. I'll give you that, especially with how high you have him ranked. Like, you could take him a round higher and justify it simply. But, yeah, I guess I'm just a little bit higher. But I like your thoughts. I like your analysis on that. You mentioned a guy in Christian McCaffrey. I know you're not super high on McCaffrey.
Where do I have him ranked?
He's going, I don't remember exactly what his ADP is, but it's fairly high. Yeah. What are your thoughts on McCaffrey? Not necessarily whether are you targeting him or not, but do you think he could be like a legit running back 2 for your team?
Yeah, I have him at 17 this year. I actually like him more this year than last year without John Stewart this year. C.J. Anderson is no threat to him. He'll probably get on the field, obviously, and try to be there for a second-round running back, but I think C.J. Anderson sucks balls. So, I definitely like – I still like him because he's going to be a pass-catching guy. Like, that's going to be his thing, and they showed that they can use him in that situation. So, PPR, he's like a top 10 running back, for Christ's sake.
Right.
Regular scoring, I have him at 17. In standard scoring leagues, I have him lower because of obviously not getting points for those receptions, so he's going to drop down a little bit more in those situations. But he's going to have a solid season. If I get the right position, if there's a spot where I take him, I would draft him. He's not a guy who's not going to end up on my team like last year where I said that.
Right. It kind of gives me a little bit of a flash of like that Alvin Kamara, whereas he's never going to be out of the game plan because of the
white thing really throws me off, though.
The white thing's tough to get over, and I'll give you that.
It's like a hurdle in my mind.
But, man, he's always going to be on the field. Like you said, it's C.J. Anderson, and what do you have there? We're not 100% sure. He's a guy that can just ground and pound and get the job done. But McCaffrey's going to be the splash play guy. He's going to be the guy catching the ball out of the backfield. He's going to be the guy in the gadget plays. He's going to be the guy that lines up on the slot. He's kind of like the end-all be-all, just kind of that utility guy who can do everything. So, yeah, I don't necessarily know that he's like my ultimate target at running back, 'cause I think there's going to be some weeks where he maybe disappears a little bit. But he'll have some splash weeks. He'll catch 8 balls for 90 yards, and he'll catch a touchdown, and he'll run a touchdown, and he'll win you a week here and there. A little leery just based on that consistency. So I don't know if I want to lean on him too much, but yeah, I'm a fan regardless.
I look at a guy like I saw him was mentioned. I think Mikey might have mentioned him in the tweet that we put out this morning. I was listening to a podcast also this morning that really liked this guy, and I think you're kind of on the opposite side of him. But Marlon Mack kind of interests me, and I don't know. I guess there were some games where I just thought he looked explosive. He actually looked like he could potentially sometimes be a 3-down running back. I know guys don't think he's going to be, but I mean, if he gets Andrew Luck healthy, he could explode onto the scene. And I don't know. I kind of like. I mean, there was some bursts on the edges last year. I specifically remember where he scored, and I really liked the look of that. Like, there's a couple things I really liked that he showed me last year that could really benefit from the improving offensive line and Andrew Luck.
I agree. I have him on a keeper league where, obviously not dynasty, but keeper. You can only keep so many guys, and I'm kind of on the edge with him. Like, I don't know if I should keep him where he is now because I'm getting him at a bargain or let him loose, because I think it was Mikey. What I replied back was, so much of that team in general in games and in fantasy relies so much on Andrew Luck, and I'd like to see him just be healthy so I can free my mind and draft some of these
Free your mind!
Nice song.
And your rest will follow.
I don't even know what that is. Is that Prince?
God, you really suck at music that I play it. Keep going.
I think that was pretty much it. I want to draft T.Y. Hilton. I want to believe in Marlon Mack. I'd love to have Andrew Luck, but at this point, I'm on this whole, don't draft people from these shitty teams. And I don't know where the Colts stand with Marlon Mack either. I mean, we thought he was the guy because, Frank Gore's coming to the end of his career. Let's bring in Marlon Mack. And now they're still drafting more running backs. I know they get depth, so I understand the draft picks, but there's some doubt in people's mind about him just because of that.
Yeah, I love watching these stories. I'm going to bounce back to this old red zone shit, but I love watching some of this shit because I forget some things that happened. Marcus Peters just picked up a flag and launched it 700 feet to the fucking stands. Oh my God, he got kicked out. Some of these times it's just fun to watch back at the season before and watch the things that you forget. A guy launching a fucking flag into the stands is great.
Throw of the year. He should have played for the Jets last year. He might have gotten a job.
He should have. They were playing the Jets too.
I thought they might have been. That's why I said the Jets.
Yeah.
Nice. Last one I want to hit on, and you can touch on some of these other players if you
I'll touch on all these players. Any
chance that you'd even take a late round flyer right now on a guy like John Ross?
What's funny is he was the one guy I was just the guy above him and John Ross were gonna be the guy I just mentioned. Who is John Ross even? What is John Ross? How easily a guy can be he was known for his fucking 40 time and he won some thing. I can't even remember what he won, a boat or something.
Free athlete's foot for a year?
Or he didn't get to win the boat because he didn't have the shoes on or something like that.
Something like that,
No, I don't. Again, I don't want anybody in the Cincinnati office, and I don't want John Ross just because he can run fast. I mean, they've already tried to draft 2 wide receivers in back-to-back years, and that haven't done anything. So they'll probably, I don't know. No.
So I remember watching the Combine and everyone going bananas over John Ross. This guy's going to be the first receiver taken in the draft. He's going top 10. He did go super high still. But he's going to be this ultimate game changer. I'm like, just because a dude runs fast doesn't really mean that he's going to be this next great receiver. So I was pump the brakes on this John Ross fandom. But then I was thinking about his situation, where he was going in a draft. I'm like, okay, you've got this team now who is going to try to run the ball a little bit. At the point, they had 3 running backs who were potentially capable of the job. Andy Dalton, who's not good, but he's made some decent plays, I guess, to keep receivers like A.J. Green relevant. And then you have A.J. Green, who's kind of commanding that double team. Maybe a speedster like John Ross would fit in well into that offense. So I wasn't super opposed to taking him last year. But now I'm just okay, he could never get on the field. The team doesn't trust him. he's just like this kind of this gadget guy. Not a gadget guy, but just a really limited in skill set receiver. So, yeah, I mean, you'd have an opportunity to take him fairly late, which is okay. But end of the day, I'm not targeting this guy. I don't know that he's going to really get a spot on any of my rosters. All right, and we're not going to get any further analysis or thoughts from DJ because his computer has frozen. So with that, we're going to wrap it up anyways. As always, follow us on Twitter. Tweet any questions you'd like answered on the podcast at Loaded Box. I talked about the website earlier. Check that out for our latest blogs, fantasy football rankings podcast, loadedboxpodcast.wordpress.com. We are also available on iTunes by searching Loaded Box, so be sure to subscribe, rate, and review. We've been having a ton of articles coming out. Recently, we've been doing some fantasy football player profiles. We're basically singling out a certain guy and talking about him, his last year, how he did in fantasy, and then how we see him moving forward with the team that he's on in 2018, so be sure to check those out. Got a bunch of articles dropping each week, so be sure to check those out. That's all we have, and since DJ can't do it, we will just say goodbye.